There are places on Earth that seem to hold secrets time itself has forgotten. But none are as chilling as this one. A town that simply vanished. No explosions, no mass evacuation, no trace of a struggle. One night, hundreds of residents went to sleep, and by the next morning, the entire town was gone. No smoke, no bodies, no sound. Just empty roads leading to nothing. This is the story of the town that vanished overnight, and no one knows why. It all began in the remote, rolling countryside of Oregon, USA. In the 1950s, the town of Dunwich Falls was home to nearly 1,200 people, a thriving community of farmers, shop owners, and families. It was a peaceful place, nestled between dense forests and crystal-clear rivers, the kind of town where everyone knew each other's names. But on the morning of October 17, 1953, something was terribly wrong. A mail truck making its usual rounds arrived at the town's entrance and found only an unnerving silence. Every house was empty. Breakfast sat untouched on kitchen tables, coffee still warm in the mugs. Radios were still playing static, humming into empty rooms. Clothes were hung on lines, swaying gently in the breeze, as if everyone had simply disappeared in the middle of their daily routine. The driver, confused and then alarmed, spent hours searching. He called out names, honked his horn, but the only response was the echo of his own voice. There were no animals, no barking dogs, no birds chirping, not even a single footprint leading out of town. It was as if a vacuum had descended and swallowed every living soul. When authorities finally arrived, they were forced to confront the impossible. There were no signs of life, nor any signs of escape. The people of Dunwich Falls were gone. For months, investigators from across the country swarmed Dunwich Falls, desperately trying to piece together what happened. They found no bodies, no clues, and absolutely no indication of a natural disaster. The power grid was still functioning. The town's wells were full of fresh water, yet the entire population, all 1,200 of them, had disappeared as if erased from existence. It was a puzzle with no pieces. Police reports from the time mentioned strange electromagnetic readings and compasses that spun wildly when brought inside the town limits. Modern electronic devices, like radios and early recording equipment, malfunctioned near the main square. Drones sent by researchers years later would mysteriously lose their connection and fall from the sky the moment they flew over the town's former location. Then, in 1978, a new piece of evidence surfaced, discovered in the decaying ruins of the abandoned post office. A series of handwritten letters, bundled together but never sent. The last, dated letter, written in a shaky, urgent hand, read, "There's a light coming from the woods. We can't sleep. It hums at night." After that date, no more mail was ever sent from Dunwich Falls. The hum from the woods became the town's final, cryptic message. Over the decades, as the story of Dunwich Falls grew into a modern legend, hundreds of theories emerged, each more unsettling than the last. Some believe the town was part of a secret military experiment during the height of the Cold War. Could it have been a test of powerful microwave transmissions or advanced psychological weapons? A sudden, catastrophic disappearance could have been the horrifying result of an experiment gone wrong. A terrible secret the government would bury at any cost. Another theory, favored by some physicists, points to a known geomagnetic anomaly in the region, a natural distortion in the Earth's magnetic field. This theory suggests that Dunwich Falls might not have been destroyed, but displaced. Could the entire town have slipped through a time rift, a tear in the fabric of reality, vanishing into another dimension or another point in history entirely? Then there is the Dunwich Sound. Even today, locals and hikers report hearing a strange, low-frequency hum emanating from the surrounding forest. A deep, ground-shaking vibration that seems to have no source. Those brave or foolish enough to follow the sound claim it leads to a strange clearing where the forest goes completely silent. And compasses spin endlessly, as if fighting an unseen force. Finally, there's the paranormal theory. Some witnesses, exploring the ruins over the years, have spoken of seeing glowing figures moving in the dead of night and fleeting shadows darting between the abandoned buildings. It's a terrifying thought that maybe the townsfolk never truly left. They just transformed into something else, their spectral forms forever bound to the place they once called home. Each theory is more terrifying than the last, yet none can fully explain why every living being disappeared without leaving a single trace. In 2019, the mystery took another bizarre turn. A team of urban explorers equipped with high-definition cameras rediscovered the overgrown remains of Dunwich Falls. They captured eerie, haunting footage, houses still standing against the odds, personal items untouched by time, children's toys lying in the dust where they were dropped decades ago. But their exploration was cut short. At exactly 3:07 a.m., all of their cameras and recording equipment simultaneously stopped working. Frightened and unnerved, they fled. When they cautiously returned the next day, the entire site was gone again. Vanished. Satellite scans of the area showed nothing but dense, uninterrupted forest. It was as if the town had reappeared for just a moment, only to be swallowed by the woods once more. Weeks later, when they tried to recover their recordings, they found the footage was almost entirely corrupted, a mess of static and digital noise, all except for one single, chilling frame. A blurred, distorted image of a tall figure standing in the mist, its eyes glowing with a faint, ethereal white light. Was Dunwich Falls swallowed by time, erased by a secret human experiment, or claimed by something far older and more powerful than both? Maybe one night, the town will flicker back into existence. And when it does, we'll finally know where the people went. Until then, the question remains, a chilling whisper on the wind. How can an entire town vanish overnight, and no one know why? Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you found this mystery as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story from the shadows. See you next time. Have you ever heard a story so strange, so unsettling, that it sends a shiver down your spine? A story that defies all logical explanation? Today, we're diving into one of the most chilling mysteries in Canadian history, the disappearance of an entire village. This isn't a scene from a horror movie. This is the true, baffling story of the empty village at Anjikuni Lake. Picture this. It's November 1930. The Canadian North is a vast, unforgiving wilderness, blanketed in snow and ice. A seasoned fur trapper named Joe LaBelle is making his way through the rugged terrain, heading for a familiar sight, a bustling Inuit village on the shores of Lake Anjikuni. He'd been there many times before. It was a lively community, full of families, hunters, and the sounds of daily life. He was looking forward to a warm welcome and a brief respite from the biting cold. But as he approached, an eerie silence greeted him. The usual sounds of barking sled dogs, laughing children, and chattering villagers were gone. All he could hear was the whisper of the wind over the frozen lake. The village was there, the huts were standing, but it was utterly, completely deserted. A sense of dread crept over LaBelle as he walked through the silent settlement. He called out, but only the echo of his own voice answered. He looked inside the huts. Everything was just as it should be. He found pots of stew, now frozen solid, still hanging over long extinguished fire pits. In one hut, he found a child's unfinished sealskin parka, with a needle and thread still stuck in the garment, as if the sewer had just stepped away for a moment. Rifles, which no Inuit hunter would ever willingly abandon, were leaning against the walls of their homes. This wasn't a planned departure. It was as if every man, woman, and child had vanished into thin air in the middle of their daily routines. The mystery only deepened. LaBelle made his way to the village's makeshift graveyard. He found that the graves had been opened. The stones that marked them were neatly stacked to the side, and the earth had been dug up. The bodies were gone. Who would do such a thing? And why? This act defied all Inuit customs and beliefs, It was a profound desecration, something unthinkable for the people who lived there. Even more disturbing was the discovery he made on the edge of the village. The sled dogs, vital for survival in the Arctic, were found starved to death, tied to their posts. Some had even gnawed through their own restraints in a desperate attempt to find food. This was perhaps the most confusing clue of all. The Inuit people shared a deep bond with their dogs. To let them starve was not just cruel, it was suicide. Without their dogs, they couldn't hunt, travel, or survive. Whatever happened here, it prevented them from even feeding their most essential companions. Shaken to his core, LaBelle hurried to the nearest telegraph office and sent a frantic message to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The Mounties launched an investigation, trekking out to the desolate village. What they found only added to the puzzle. They confirmed LaBelle's story. A fully supplied village abandoned mid-activity. They estimated that the village had been home to around 30 people. The investigators searched the surrounding area for miles. They found no tracks leading away from the village, no signs of a struggle, no evidence of an attack by animals or another tribe. It was as if the ground itself had swallowed them whole. How could 30 people, along with their sleds and belongings, move across the snow without leaving a single trace? As the story spread, theories began to fly. Some whispered of ancient spirits or malevolent entities from Inuit folklore. The area around Lake Anjikuni was rumored to be home to a spirit called the Tornrark, a powerful and fearsome being. Had the villagers angered it somehow? Others looked to the skies. That night, other trappers and even a constable in a nearby settlement reported seeing strange, pulsating lights in the sky over the Anjikuni Lake region. They described a bizarre, cylindrical object moving in an unnatural way. Could it be that the villagers weren't taken by something from this earth? Was it a case of mass alien abduction? This theory, while fantastical, seemed to be one of the few that could explain the lack of tracks and the sheer speed of the disappearance. The official report from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police offered little comfort. They documented the strange circumstances but could offer no definitive explanation. The file on the Anjikuni Lake disappearance remains open to this day, a cold case file filled with more questions than answers. Over the years, some have tried to debunk the story, claiming it was an exaggeration or a campfire tale that got out of hand. They suggest LaBelle might have stumbled upon a seasonally abandoned camp, not a permanently vanished one. But these explanations don't quite fit the facts. Why would a community leaving for the season abandon their food, their valuable rifles, and, most importantly, allow their dogs to starve? It goes against every known aspect of Inuit culture and survival logic. The desecrated graves, the unfinished meal, the needle still in the parka. These details paint a picture of sudden, inexplicable interruption, not a planned migration. Decades have passed since Joe LaBelle first walked into that silent village. The huts have long since been reclaimed by the harsh Canadian wilderness, but the story of Anjikuni Lake endures. It's a haunting reminder that some mysteries may never be solved. It forces us to confront the limits of our understanding and to wonder about the forces that might exist just beyond the edges of our known world. What do you think happened to the people of Anjikuni Lake? Was it a natural phenomenon we don't yet understand? An act of a vengeful spirit? Or something from beyond the stars? The truth, it seems, vanished along with the villagers on that cold November night in 1930, leaving behind only an unsettling silence and a mystery for the ages. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's most chilling unsolved cases. If you enjoy exploring the unknown and unexplained, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Let me know your theories in the comments below. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.